Welcome to EnigmaCast, everybody, and look who I found taking out the trash. Back in town.
Right.
Uncle Jay, urban legend host and author extraordinaire, just got back from his 1 week, or I should say 10 days if I'm being specific. Southern swing, Joey. Back to your roots. Back to the boonies. Back to the Pine Barrens. Back to that heat, son.
Goodness gracious. I don't miss it. For some reason, for the last 3 years, roundabout first week, second week of June, I end up in South Georgia. And of all the times to go to South Georgia, that is not the time. Typically June was okay. And I say okay in a very loose terms because I don't like the heat at all. Yeah, it was not okay. Well, I mean, it was Georgia.
It's Georgia, baby.
Gnats, fire ants, and heat.
If you've never experienced the following three things in your life, I suggest you head on down to that Florida-Georgia line and get you some of this. One, step on some hornets buried in the ground. That's always fun, right? You don't know how fast you can move until you step on some hornets. A hornet's nest.
You will learn.
You will learn, because all you soy boys up north, hornets bite you, they don't sting you, and they swarm you, and they're mean, and they live in the ground, not in the trees. That's horrible. Also, too, nothing like those hot, steamy, 130-degree, full humidity Georgia nights where you come out of the shower and you're taking a cold shower, and you're instantly sweating, so you sit down and you get bit right on the butt by a red ant. Man, that's fun, son. Right on the cheek. So, yeah.
Let me just say, I saw a palmetto bug. I think it was as big as my index finger. No lie, dude. And I didn't even kill that bad boy. I had to capture that bad boy. I shoot it into the trash can and then tied the bag shut because he was had violent intentions towards me for sure.
Believe it.
I hate those. I'm not a fan of bugs. Those are huge creatures. No.
And Georgia pines. Georgia pine trees. Unlike most trees, Georgia pine trees don't give off a lot of shade, in my opinion, and they make everything, actually, I think, trap the heat down there. But here's where Jay and I differed. I'm a full-on hellspawn, man. The hotter the better. If I'm not wet when I'm sweating, I'm not having a good time, man. So, anyways,
dude,
go ahead.
I could always, my contention has always been I can put more clothes on if I'm cold. There's only a certain amount I can take off and still be comfortable.
I can't stand the cold.
And I can take all of them off and walk around and naked, but no one wants to see that, right?
You're two crunches away, man, from having that body back, man. 2 crunches away, dog. That's it. That's it. All right, Jay.
Okay.
You've been gone for 2 weeks. Huh?
They're going to be really long crunches. I basically need to hold that shit for about 2 years. It's happening. Dude, Georgia. I went down to Georgia and then I went down to Florida. It was definitely an experience for sure. So I got family down there, so I went down and just kind of did that thing for a little while.
You're a little low, brother. You're a little low.
I'm sorry. I'm talking low because it's
get close to your mic.
Anyway, I went down, saw some family, and we went on a little excursion, right? There was, they lived out in the middle of nowhere, dude. The train tracks come through, and that's about it. There's no major highways. There's no, it's a bunch of logging roads and old pine forest plots, where they plant, they harvest them, right? So they'll plant these fast-growing pine trees in rows. They'll just have a machine that does it. My dad used to work for a tractor company, so I know all about that crap. But they have these things, and they'll just plant all these rows of pine trees, right? And so it's really eerie, because when you drive by, you can just see down the rows, right? And so,
oh hell yeah!
I think last year I took a video and I went down, and when I went down and walked some of the the rows, and you can go in there, dude. You can go in there real deep, right? And it's just it's like a straight path,
Mm-hmm.
and then you walk through, walk to the other path, and it's just a row. It's like some of them, when you get deep in there, some of the trees have fallen and stuff like that. So there's like little groves inside of some of the centers of these things, right? And so people have been saying, that there's stuff hiding in the rows, right? So we just went and took a look. I didn't get great footage just because of equipment malfunctions and things like that, but I did get some, right? So I'm going to put that together and maybe I'll throw it. You can throw it up if you want.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, it was interesting for sure. Didn't hear any coyotes though, which was surprising.
Oh, that's good.
I found them comforting. Not like at night, when the kids are playing in the freaking wilderness. But like I find their presence comforting though.
I'm gonna make a prediction here in the next. I would say in the next. Actually, I've got some good things. I got some good things to tell you. With those rows, I know what you're talking about. Those pine trees. And fun fact, we're going to assume that the Earth is not round and we can get through the firmament. Elon Musk's plan is actually a really good plan to populate Mars with trees. Was the Georgia pine tree, because those pine trees are almost impossible to kill, and they will grow anywhere, and they will actually produce they eat up a lot of carbon and produce a lot of oxygen. I know that global warming has to be fought with killing people and not planting more trees, that literally, but I don't want to go that route, man. Like, I don't want to open that up, man. Plant more trees.
Talk to the third world. They're the biggest offenders, right?
Yeah. But anyways, I've always been like, I've never felt uncomfortable in Georgia pine trees. I've felt uncomfortable in certain patches of woods in the Appalachians, right? Mm-hmm. But where I've always felt uncomfortable? Always. Is the rare occasions that I had to venture into the cornfields in Pennsylvania. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know if that's that
Children of the Corn when you were like 7. And
yeah, I know. Malachi's in there. There's a scarecrow in there, man. I don't know, bro.
Dude, that's some scary shit.
To this day.
Yeah, right? Because, I mean, that one's actually plausible.
Right?
It's not a monster.
Yeah,
it's just really fucked up people. Those exist.
It's a human, right? It's a human in there, right? With
That's
bad intentions.
what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of like cryptids and shit. They're probably more afraid of us. No. We outnumber them vastly. Yeah, I'm more afraid of the human beings than anything else.
No, we've said it. Yeah, if you've watched one episode on this, you know that I tell you the most dangerous thing in the woods are people. For sure, people, right?
Most likely yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. So, but yeah, bro. So that was always used to get me, man. I don't know if it was that Children of the Corn, that Malachi stuff. And I look back at those movies now, man, and those movies don't scare me. But I realized what about those movies scared me. It was the music, man. Like the scary little, I guess they call it scoring, right? The score of the music. Terrified me, right?
I love that movie. It has a very special place in my heart.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And since Father's Day is here, I'm gonna indulge just a minute, right? So my dad, right? He was a trickster. He come from a long line of tricksters. Actually, my grandfather was one too, right? I had 2 older sisters, and the younger of the 2 were having like a couple friends over. So they were like, they had to be like 16 because she was driving, right? So they were between like 16 and 18, and they're down in the basement watching Children of the Corn. So what does my dad do? He goes up to the cornfield at the end of the street, and he grabs a couple of the dead stalks out of the field, and he brings them back. And my sister, dude, my sister's car, she had a Snow White, what was that thing called? A Ford Pinto. Do you remember the Ford Pinto? It was like this big, right, and it had that dome roof like a gremlin. Those things were awesome, right? Yep. They ran, yeah. Anyway, that's what she drove, right? Because it was like 1980, whatever. And he brought the cornstalk back and put it in the tree above her car. like this. And then put one. No. He put it in her car. The first time he put it in her car, and wrapped the leaves around the steering wheel, right? So it was driving, and so when she came out of the house, she screamed so loud that the neighbors came out of the house and looked to make sure that everything was okay, right?
Yeah, nah.
And then she's like so mad at my dad, and then she left to take her friends home. And then she comes back, and that's when it was up in the tree above where she parks her car. She was rolled the window down and was yelling, "Come get this thing out of the tree, Dad!"
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's good. That's good therapy. 20 years later, right there.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I already told my kids I'd pay for their therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're gonna need it for sure.
You ever seen the you remember the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
Remember how terrifying that movie was? Have you go rewatch it? Like, I can't believe I was ever scared of that movie, right? I can't believe it like that. I was just like, but
but we were I was pretty young when those came out, right? The first ones, right? So yeah, I mean that was scary because like I was 8, and it was
no. But anyways, enough of that. Enough of that catching up. Enough with your family. It's not what I call you on here for. Did you see any skunk apes, Jay? Did you bring me back some skunk apes?
I didn't, but I did see some weird stuff. Like I said, in those rows, there's these little fallen whatever, and it's just a collection of like brush and stuff. But I mean, definitely an animal could live in there for sure.
Yeah.
Are they like? Is there something else in there? Mm-hmm. I didn't really see anything, but I didn't hear any coyotes, which was weird to me because you kind of always hear them out there.
Well. Like I said, with the coyotes, I think within the next year, a year and a half, it's going to be open season on coyotes.
What do you mean? But
they're breeding out of control, man. They're all over the place.
They are. But see, here's the thing. That's what is so interesting about them is the more you kill them off, the more they breed. So killing them off is usually not the answer.
Yeah, they're going to start getting a hold of people's dogs pretty soon, I think.
They're going to start getting a hold of people's kids.
Oh yeah,
they get hungry.
Sure. Wasn't that? No, that was a dingo. That story out of Australia.
Yeah, that was in Australia. That was a dingo. There's only been one reported coyote killing a human being, and that was like up in Canada, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they grow on bigger.
It was an outlier. They don't typically.
They grow on bigger and meaner up there. All right. Yeah. Anyways, welcome back.
Yeah.
You feel loved? You feel loved?
I do.
Nobody cares, Jay. We're getting down to business right now. Nobody cares, all right? No, welcome back, man. People, welcome back, Jay.
Yeah, I made it.
You feel recharged? You get your batteries charged? You feel good?
Recharged? Kind of. Sure.
It's good.
Why not?
Good little way.
Why not?
All right, Jay, you know how I bring the heat, son. I'm bringing the heat, son. I'm bringing the heat. I'm going to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
We've often talked about ignoring Native American legends at your own risk, right? Right?
Absolutely.
Right? So what do you know about these things called the Dark Watchers, a.k.a. the Silent Guardians of the Pines out in California? You ever heard about these things before?
I've heard a little bit about them. I find the story really cool and fascinating. When you think about it, right? Like when you say Dark Watchers, right? The whole Watchers thing kind of pops in my head. Right? Of leftover from however long ago, still kind of here.
Right.
And that's kind of their job to watch.
Absolutely. So these things are reportedly 10 feet tall, shadowy figures to appear to be wearing hoods with, I'm going off my memory here, light, glowing, smoldering red eyes, very ominous. They run the Santa Lucia Mountain Range, which runs from Monterey down the coast of California, also affectionately known as the Big Sur, S-U-R, right? The Big Sur that runs down there. And to give our listeners, our watchers, a little bit of background about this is that the earliest report of these watchers that I could find dated back about 300 years ago. And of course, you know that Native Americans have lived in this country a lot longer than that, but without contact with us, the white mans, the colonizers like Jay's people, the Viking breed. And so
like Jay's people,
like Jay's
you
people,
don't have an
exactly,
you
exactly. I wasn't involved in none of that. These blue eyes ain't shed no blood.
Yeah, of course not.
So
the Irish,
the Irish and Vikings, yeah, we're mostly peaceful. Say it right. So,
totally.
Mostly peaceful. Yeah, we're mostly peaceful.
Totally.
Yeah, ignore.
No bombs, right?
My grandfather's name was Ragnar.
Yeah, right.
Ignore that. It was an affectionate name. It was a love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyways, this first got reported because California was big on gold, right? So, of course, they would run the gold ranges down there. And prospectors, they had no fear. Really, they didn't have any fear. They would load up everything they had on a mule. They would load up a musket. And they would go out, and these guys would prospect, man. They would go and look for gold. And people don't often realize, I didn't realize, I slept on this for a little while until I did a little bit of homework, how dangerous prospecting really was, right? And I can give you a few hints, right? So,
you mean back then?
Yeah, back then, yeah, for sure, right?
Jeez.
So, for one, if the elements didn't kill you, you had to deal with grizzly bears. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but California used to be littered with grizzly bears. In fact, the state flag of California still has a grizzly bear on it, y'all. The reason why you don't see no more grizzly bears out in California, because they decided to end that entire species out there because these bad boys were legit. I myself have had the privilege of never having to come across a grizzly bear in the wild, and that is my life goal, right? To never, ever come across a grizzly bear in the wild. I've seen some black bears, but never a grizzly bear. And these guys had muskets, and if you ever try to kill a grizzly bear with one shot, it don't work. All right, so
they're pretty tough.
Takes a while to do it. But not only that, these guys had to dig in holes. They had to do that, and when they did find something, they had to get it back to town, and they had a bad habit of rolling into the saloons, telling everybody where their site was at, and then they would have claim jumpers, and then people would wait for them to come back down the mountain, and they would just appropriate their belongings.
Take care of things.
So it was dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
And so these boys started reporting that they were making these hikes through that mountain range. And I think a lot of people too just dawned on me. A lot of people think that California really is only San Francisco, San Diego, LA,
right?
Oakland, basically the dumps. Those are the dumpster fires of California. It is. California is actually a beautiful place. And if you go in Northern California, there are a lot of like really cool people there, right? Really are, right? It's when you get in these major city hubs, LA, Hollywood, San Diego is the worst. I was in San Diego for 2 weeks for training. I walked into a 7-Eleven. It's illegal to smoke in San Diego. There was a girl hiding behind a dumpster smoking a cigarette. I saw her. She had a panic attack that I was going to turn her in. I was like, what are you I don't smoke 2 more. I don't care. I was like, I'm not from around here. I'm from the East Coast. She's like, oh my God, you're a normal one. I was like, damn. Like, so anyways.
I've never been out to California, so I can't say.
Well, so Northern California is beautiful. It really is. Until you start hitting.
Heard, but I saw it from an airplane.
Until you get out, until you get out there, until you get north towards San Francisco, which is a complete turd. It is terrible. They've ruined it. That city once upon a time probably was something to marvel at. I'd never been the first time I went to San Diego, I've been 2 or 3 times. First time I went to San Diego, I was incredibly hype about actually going to San Diego, right? I got out there and it was one of the most disappointing trips of my life. I've never in my entire life seen so many homeless people in my life. Never. And when the sun goes down, they roll onto the beaches and they make a city, right? And I was like, man, this is really, really depressing, right? I didn't like it at all, right?
Well,
but you head north, right, where these things were going. It's actually very beautiful, very, very mountain ranges. It's very beautiful, right? And in fact, I read recently. I don't follow politics, but I read recently that Northern California wants to split off from Southern California because they differ so much, right? And I'm like, I can see that, right? There's completely different people live in LA and San Diego than they do in the northern part until you get to San Francisco, and then it's basically more LA. But anyways, so back to the story. Stop distracting me, bro. And check it out, man. I think I got abducted the other day. I woke up and I got these 2 vampire bites right here in the middle of my arm. I don't know what that is, man, but I think the aliens came and took some of my DNA. Basically a super soldier program. I'm probably a part of.
Sleep on your stomach or you sleep on your back?
What's that?
How do you sleep? Do you sleep on your stomach or you sleep on your back?
Oh, I'm a side sleeper.
Like this?
Yeah.
Did you have something tucked in there?
No, like I said, it was just there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you might have got something tucked in there.
Maybe.
Because there's
Jay, aliens did it.
I'm not. You're the one who's. You're the one who's getting bit by vampires.
Shut up. Aliens did it, man. Aliens did it. Men in black all over the place. I'm getting watched left and right now.
Took your blood. Wanted to make sure we were checking you for Nephilim percentage.
That's exactly it, right? Seeing if I'm harvest material. So, anyways, these guys were making this trek, Jay. Came back to the saloons. They had to come in and get their flour and their sugar and their salt and whatever they did back in the day. And so they came in. They were telling these stories about these things they were seeing. And then they were interacting with the Native Americans, and this thing just spread. Now, here's the one thing that I actually found interesting about these Dark Watchers. They've never hurt anybody. They've never done. They just watch. Right. So
they're just kind of there.
They're just there. There's never been a reported sight of anybody being hurt from them. Supposedly, if you make direct eye contact with them, they will vanish. They'll only exist in your peripheral. And
yeah, that was one I heard, that the whole peripheral vision thing, that they only exist, like you can only catch them out of the corner of your eye.
Right. And here's a fun fact for you. What if I told you these same types of beings were being reported in Vietnam during the war by American soldiers, saying that they could only see them out of their peripherals, and when they looked them dead on, they would just vanish?
Yeah, see, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, right? And check this out, too. What if I told you these things had been reported at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan?
Okay, so what? I've got a historical time frame for Vietnam, obviously.
Right.
Native Americans have been reporting it for a long time. The Chumash tribe.
Right.
And then Spanish explorers. So they've been here, sighted in America a long time. Right. And then Vietnam. So it seems to be like kind of in whatever forested kind of areas.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And so also too, they do not respond well to any type of electronic device. People said they've tried to record them with their phones. They immediately vanish. They tried any type of GPS system that you're using on your body, your person. The electromagnetic field on that is said to cause them to not be able to. I don't know how they would know this, but cause them not to be able to manifest. I'm like, okay, that's a bold statement, Cotton. So I mean, okay, sure. But people have also had positive, like, yeah. How do you know? How would you know that, right? So that's the thing. Like, how would you
know what?
Well, people are saying that, if you go up there with your cell phone on, or if you have a GPS on.
It's people saying, well, as soon as I pulled my phone out, I couldn't see him.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's one of those, right? Like.
It's like, how would you know?
Yeah.
And so people have reported having positive experiences with these things. And people have reported that they have left them flowers.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that one.
So supposedly, I can't remember this woman's name, but she's like, she was interacting with them. She would leave them food, leave them flowers. They would leave her gifts in return as well. And I'm thinking like, okay, so if in order for that to happen, I'm just going to rule out telekinesis right away, man. They have to have some type of physical aspect to them, because why are you taking the food? Why are they taking the food, right? Like, so why are they taking? Maybe it's like a sign of goodwill. I don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got an idea?
Well, I mean, it feeds into my theory.
What's that?
Well, in the old times, we used to give things like that offerings.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't like demons, man.
Usually be something that was precious to you.
Yeah.
Like flowers are beautiful, so you're giving in flowers as an offering. It's a and some of those flowers could have symbolism that you don't understand.
Yeah, well, that's also true. Like, I'm glad you said that. If you're watching, don't ever do that in the Appalachians. That's a big warning to you right now. If you don't ever leave don't leave an offering to something that you're trying to make peace with that's supernatural, because they're not your friends. In fact, it will often make the situation that you're dealing with worse. So What's that?
You are food, not friends.
Yeah, these people aren't these things. They're not your friends. They're not there's not a leprechaun going to appear and like, hey, look, you don't have kidney stones anymore. That's never going to happen. These things are not friendly. What's that?
I said that would be cool though.
Yeah. So I was on the Cryptid Warfare podcast last week, Jay, and he was talking to me. And he was telling me a story down around, I think it was Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where someone was on a property and they were having trouble with spirits, and they left some offerings, and all hell broke loose. Dogman started showing up, Skinwalker started showing up, paranormal activity got worse. So this ain't California, y'all. All right, so look.
Don't make a deal.
Yeah, so check this out. Here's another thing too that I found that I didn't know that's crazy interesting. So talk a lot about the Appalachian Mountains that runs from basically Canada all the way down to Georgia. But they recently came out, I think a month and a half ago, maybe 8 weeks ago, and they said they're about to declare the Appalachian Mountains the oldest mountain range on the planet. That it was actually a mountain range during Pangea. And if you don't know what Pangea is, it was back when all the continents were connected as one. If you take all the continents, cut them out, they'll form a puzzle. You can push them back together. They're saying when Pangea broke, that the Appalachian mountain range was already there, and it just split, and it came across. So they're saying that mountain range and those cave systems are the oldest mountain range, and that's what they're trying to go through the process to say, that it's the oldest mountain range cave system on the planet, right?
That's my next destination.
Yeah, and so
the caves.
So those things, let's put a low jack up your butt, man, because
yeah, that's where I'm going.
So when I used to when I was a young man, me and my cousins we would run around and we'd play outside all day, and we would come across some old timers, and these old timers were, and when I say old timers, these guys would build bonfires and drink moonshine, right, like out by the river, and they would just sit out there at night. And they used to say things about those mountains at the time that I thought was just. I'm actually working on a podcast episode for us, Jay, about things not to do in the Appalachian Mountains and myths and lore.
Dumb ways to die.
Yeah. And so these guys would
Appalachians.
Yeah, man. These guys would tell me and my cousins, man, it's like, hey, look, don't go up there. There's old hate up there. They would use the word old hate. There's an old hate that lives up there, like old hate. I'd be like, old hate. What is this?
500 million years is a long time.
Toothless hillbilly talking about. I used to say, I mean, like, of course, I was a hillbilly. But like, what's this toothless hillbilly drinking that?
Some of our
drinking that fire water over there, telling about old hates, right? Old hates. But now I'm a little bit older, and I look back and I start seeing some of these stories, and I start hearing the caves, man. I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah, no joke.
But here's the thing too.
Like, these are caves. So some of those caves, right? Like, I'm looking at the information right now. 500 million years.
Yeah.
They've been mountains.
Yeah.
So you got to think the caves there.
Yeah.
How old are those caves underneath those mountains?
Yeah. Yeah.
How long has it been, like, carving out caves underneath there? Like 500 million year old caves, dude.
So you would have to say, right, too, you would have to say that we're just going to assume that these things weren't carved out like the ones that were carved out in the Grand Canyon, right? We could say that those are lava flow caves. Those are, whatever type of caves. Who knows? Right?
The ones we know the Luray caverns are carved by some sort of water, because there's like stalagmites and stalactites in there.
Exactly, right. Water erosion. Who knows?
I think so. I'm not a geologist.
The Appalachian Mountains on the East Coast, I've never heard of a Dark Watcher, but there's stories of the Moon-Eyed people on the East Coast, right? So there's all kinds of stories over there. So we have some things going on over here. I don't think the Moon-eyed people are the same thing as the Dark Watchers, but I am a little. I've said this before. Why are these things always? Everything is always freaking 10 feet tall. Dang, bro.
Well,
everything is all
right. So that for me, that becomes a question of vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, definitely, it's a problem because I don't have very good depth perception.
Right.
Right. Not even a little bit. Like I got bad depth perception.
Mm-hmm.
So, like judging how tall or how large something is hard for me specifically. I don't know, man. I think people just make mistakes sometimes. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like something when you see it from far away, it can be hard to judge how tall something is, right?
Yeah.
Perspective is everything.
But I'm actually pretty good at judging distance because I'm actually a decent shot with a rifle. And so judging the drift and the drop. So these guys back in the day, though,
good shot with a rifle, I just can't see.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying you're a good shot too. I'm saying like, yeah.
It doesn't. It's a weird thing. It actually kind of. So I have strabismus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got the weird eye trick. You've seen the weird eye trick, right? Where I can just kind of make the one go. Anyway,
you have gecko.
It kind of shooting. It helps me a lot with shooting, believe it or not.
What?
Like, because I don't know why. Somebody explained it to me a long time ago, but it really helps for whatever reason, and I'm a dead shot with a rifle now.
Yeah,
Pistol,
I know you are.
Not good with a pistol, but the rifle though.
Yeah. So that's the thing, man. And also too, but I will say this. I will say this as well. There's probably some embellishment too, saying these things were 10 feet tall or 10 feet tall, right?
And here's the other thing too, though. It's consistent.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. It is consistent.
The other thing, like and I always go back to the Nephilim.
Yeah,
and
10
the
feet
reason
tall.
for that is because it's such a. Because here's the thing, we have all of these old stories about these other things that were here with us,
mm-hmm.
right? And how they evolved-ish, right? And interbred. And we have evidence of interbreeding with other species of humans.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, the legends and the reality, it's a little wibbly-wobbly to line it up. But, I mean, these are old stories, too. And, like, and just a vast amount of time there. Like, 500 million years, dude. I didn't know they were that old. It's kind of hit me. Like,
no.
That's 500 million years for things to just kind of be the same.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I'm also convinced too. If there's a good map. If you go online and you look at the national parks, and then you look at the America's missing person maps, they overlay with these cave systems so bad, right? And that's when I spiral though. That's when the whole Joe Barger story comes in. The whole breeding these, going into these caves, going all this other stuff. That's when I spiral out of my mind, man. And then I was like, dang, man, like, what kind of nightmares go? And the Bible says, too, the people that live on the earth and in the earth. Several times in the scriptures, it says, in the earth. The people in the earth will bow down as well, right? So I'm like, okay. Man, so that leads me in a direction. But then also, when I tug on these things about these watchers, you know me, man, I'm such Captain Literal. I'm like, what do they want? Like, why are you here? Like, what do you want, right? So...
I do the same thing, man. Yeah. I look for the why, right? Because
what
the
are
why
you?
is what tells. Yeah. It
what
tells you like the motivation, right?
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes, and I keep going back to it, the thing that makes the most sense to me is that we're like the sneezed in petri dish, right? Like they're checking on us because for some reason, right? Like they're checking on us to either make sure that we're not going to blow ourselves or them up or something. I don't know.
So yeah, so that's the thing, man. When I look at it, right, is like, what do they want? Why? What are they, right? So they're spirits of the forest. You're just watching me, and people do say that. So another thing too, I left out is that people say the worst that's ever happened to the people that have seen these things is they get an anxiety attack or they feel some type of sense of dread, right? Something like they feel like an emotion, right? No one's ever reported an attack or anything like this, right?
Anybody or come anywhere close. It's like because as soon as they're observed, they disappear.
Yeah, so they just disappear, right? So I just think that was weird, man. And then we try to tie everything back into our back in the back there. The Nephilim are not allowed in heaven, and so they're trapped on this earth. Nephilim were 10 feet tall. These things are reportedly 10 feet tall. Shadow form. God says there will never be a soul. There will never be a Nephilim in heaven. Never. So, but again, they were so incredibly hostile towards us and dominating us, and so, but they're not. These guys aren't going down on that.
But see, that was also the time when they had backup. They had backup.
Oh yeah, their daddies were around. Yeah.
They had all kinds of. They were in charge, and they're outnumbered and not in charge anymore. And I guarantee that a mortar shell will blow.
Oh, and also too, but Enoch, remember what Enoch said his last warning? I can't remember to the giant he was saying, repent and you might have a chance. Remember that?
Right.
I forget what
That's the thing, right?
Maybe they're thinking like, don't mess with these guys, and maybe we might get a chance to get into heaven.
Right. And then there's the other side of it, right? Well, we know about the Watchers that fell. What about their replacements?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Like they were here to do the job. They failed. Did they just stop? Or
yeah. Well, you know what else too? I don't think they all came down.
Did they all fall?
No, it says two. It says
what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, 200 came down. But I don't think they all came down.
We don't know that.
Yeah,
we don't have any idea. And that's the thing, right? And it's just that's like if you follow the narrative is the big cheese left for a minute. Now, how long is a minute?
Yeah.
Long enough.
Right.
Right? For a lot of stuff that happened from our relative. Right? But see, that's the thing. Like, okay. From a physics standpoint, and I know how much you love particle physics, but if they were wormhole capable, right? Portal. Call it a wormhole. I'll call it a wormhole. You call it a portal. We'll call it an Eisen-Rosen bridge, whatever you want to call it.
We'll meet in the middle.
Whatever. We'll call it a hole in the sky.
A scroll rolling back.
It can make holes in the sky and go to other places, right? There's still relative time happening between the two places, right? Like the whole interstellar thing of 7 minutes on this planet, blah, blah, blah. That's still happening because that's a proven effect, right? And so even if the travel was instantaneous, the time that they are spending at the destination counts.
Well, so, and I've been putting a lot of thought into that too recently, man. Remember how somebody pointed out to me that they're eternal, not immortal? They live forever, but you can't kill them, right? And I thought to myself, here, I'm going to nerd out here pretty hard. If you're an eternal being, right, then time is meaningless to you. It is so. It's like if you're so
relatively,
unless you're cooking a turkey, right? Like so, time is meaningless.
The
right?
Mortality aspect though does. I think the mortality aspect of it, right? Okay, so we're talking about eternal, not immortal. Immortal is immutable.
Yeah.
Can't kill it.
Can't kill it.
Like Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Deadpool is immortal.
Yeah.
Right. Can't kill him.
Right.
Elves from Lord of the Rings are eternal.
Eternal. Yeah.
Can be killed, but they live indefinitely.
Yeah.
We got jellyfish on this planet that are sort of like that, right? They're eternal. You can kill it, but if you leave it alone, it'll live forever.
It'll never die. Yeah, like time won't ever kill it.
So, but time in that aspect, right? I still think if you're experiencing time, if you are capable of experiencing time, I feel like it's still important because that means you have a relative memory time frame, like a relative memory frame, right? There's some multiverse stuff there too that I won't get into, but even if you live a long time, you're still living.
Yeah,
but here's collecting experiential data.
Yeah, but here's where I say where time becomes meaningless. Where I feel at it, right? So, say for example, I'm Enlil and you're Inky. Inky, I'm leaving. We'll fall on the Sumerian. We'll do the Sumerian version on this.
Sure.
Jay, get me 20 quadratons of gold. Let me know when it's done. And I just leave, right? And I said, okay, I know that in 200,000, so I'm not saying like, okay, I'm not checking on this 100,000 years, 200,000 years. It doesn't matter to me, right? Calls me up, it's done. Then I go back, right? And so to them, I say for an eternal being that with the wormholes, the portals when they were leaving, right? Say the Watchers came down. Number one, if I don't think that. I don't think since we're doing the tablet version, not the Watchers version, that these things were extraterrestrial. Enlil probably thought that these guys would never have the balls to not do what I tell them to do, because you know what's going to happen to you when I found out, right? Because if you're that powerful, right, you just don't think about it. And then having found out what they did, he lost his mind, came back, and then he called the deluge, right? The same thing would be with God, right? God gives every creation. Angels are his creation. I think, as a matter of fact, we'll switch over to the Watcher side here since we're so ambidextrous. They refer to those as the sons of man, right, Jay? The sons of man came down, right?
We are referred to as the sons of man.
Sons of man, right?
Of the sons of God.
Exactly. Sons of God, right? So if God would say, do this, I don't think in his mind that he would ever think that they would do what they did. You know what I'm saying? Where he had to come back,
flood the whole planet. Supposed to be obedient, right?
Yeah. So you would think you could get a little naughty, you know what I'm saying? But they went full.
They went full on.
Full Bangkok, you know what I'm saying?
Full on native.
Yeah, exactly, right? To the point where he sends down his principals. I mean, he just didn't send Michael. He sent Gabriel. He sent Raphael. Like, he sent heavy hitters down here to handle it, right? Heavy hitters.
Everyone.
Exactly right. Flooded the earth, gave us the rainbow. That's what the rainbow really means, is a symbol of, I'll never do this again. I'll never flood the earth again. Like, he had to go extreme. So imagine how he must have been thinking, like, they did what? What? Go now. Go do this. Go do that. And then we're going to handle this. But even then, like, he gave, I think it was that the scriptures say that Noah, it took like 120 years to build the ark or something like that. So even then, it wasn't a quick build. Yeah. Cause in his mind, I would think that it doesn't have to be done tomorrow. I know, because God is eternal. It doesn't mean anything, right? The time doesn't mean anything, right? So, yeah. But I think, again, when you're pulling that thread too hard, the church freaks out or whatever, saying, "Yeah, he knew it."
I think they do, and that's a thing too. Like, time, so weird, right? Because you hear about these early days, right, and these early humans, and they're measuring time for people living to be 900, right? Mm-hmm. In the literal sense, that's a long time, right? Did they measure it the same way we did, and all that sort of stuff kind of plays into that, right?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
so
we live to be about 120 years-ish now.
Yeah.
Right?
And
we have the potential to live longer.
Yeah, the Bible says that no man will live more than 120 years. So
it seems like so think about it this way. All these statistics in the early days of, like, people living to be 40 or whatever, that was an average, right? The infant mortality rate was the key demographic there.
No, right? Dude, a wisdom tooth would kill you back then, man.
Dude, well, not even just that, but, like, just dying in childbirth.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That was a huge deal back then, right? Like, you are taking your life in your hands by having a child every time.
Yeah, bro. Hold your thought on that, man. I had about 4 months ago, man, I had a thought, right? We were talking about how the traditional ways need to come back around. Remember we were having that conversation? I thought to myself, okay, say it's 1820s, and I see a girl I like. I'm 15, a full-grown man. She's 13, right? So
absolutely,
I have to go court her, talk to her father, which is a good thing. I'm for that, man. Court her, talk to her daughter, go through the thing, get married, buy us a plot of land. she's pregnant 2 months into the marriage while I'm building the house, and she dies when the kid's born. That has to be the most defeating thing that a dude could possibly feel back in that day, man. Is that, man, I lost my wife and my kid. She's 14. I'm 16 or 17. You know, it was different back then, right?
Yeah.
The average age of a man back then was like 30. I think that's when that was like, considered, full grown or whatever.
Okay. They still got to be like 70, like 67.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody lived that long, man.
Oh yeah. Look at how old was George Washington?
I don't know.
That was the 1700s.
Pull it up.
I'll find out.
Pull it up.
Yeah. All right. So, but
I'll say he died in his 50s. Toothless. They ain't want no dentist back there, man. Toothless.
Well, yeah, we know that, right? He was
29.
No, he was not 29.
Not of syphilis.
I mean, I would have just closed it. Because I've been like, okay, well, that sucks. 67.
67. Oh, that's not terrible.
No, it's not horrible. Like,
that's not terrible.
What I'm saying to you is, like, statistics are playground, man. There's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics, right? You can skew that shit however you want,
right?
Like, including whatever data you want, right? But what it comes down to is, back before we had stuff like anesthetic and antibiotics, a lot of people died from simple wounds, like you said.
Yeah.
But they still lived to be in their 60s-ish, right? What skews it towards what takes that 20 years off is a lot of dead babies, man. Like, a lot.
Yeah, no, too, man.
The mortality rate is high. Like, dude, if you look at that chart and you put in the infant mortality rate from, like, I don't know, even the 1800s, right? And you were to, like, chart it out. I don't know if somebody charted it or not. Or infant mortality rate from 1800 to present, right? You're going to see this huge drop. Yeah, right? This means that for every 1,000 babies born in 1800, over 46% did not make it to their 5th birthday.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So this chart, though, the good news is that this chart goes like this, right? It drops way down in the 1920s. Like, it just falls off, right? Because we have anesthetic and antibiotics and all of the good stuff that we have nowadays, right? Civilization, science, the things that, keep you from dying.
Yeah, antibiotics, I think, is probably the biggest thing. Even for, like, I know.
Not only that, but just the practice of washing your hands as a surgeon, right? I mean, that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
There was a big drop off in the 1870s, right? Not too long after the Civil War, right? Because we learned better practices, but then it rose right back up, right? Yeah, no,
I love throwing shade at people, man. At the same time the Japanese were living to 100, 110 years old, the Europeans were dying from the flux because they were so dirty, like just dirty.
Dirty, yeah. The Dark Ages was dark. They call it the Dark Ages for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, it was when the Beatles were starting, right?
Right, totally. Their first show.
So yeah, man. So when I see these things, the Watchers, man, and what they are, I don't know. I don't have an idea what they are. I have to slide them over into we don't know anything about the planet we live on. Somebody knows, right?
I think it's all in the name.
Yeah, and so somebody knows what they are, but we have been lied to. We've lost our lore. We've lost our history. It's
been obscured.
Yeah, it's been just hidden away from us. We've been completely kept in the dark, kept stupid, on purpose. And it was, until recently, I would say, very successful. I'm seeing more and more snowball effect where people are starting to wake up, question things like, what is this? And things just rolling forward on it. But again, this is another thing that I have to talk up. The name Dark Watchers make these things sound scary, but this wouldn't scare me. This wouldn't, if I saw something.
It's more of a descriptor of color and shape than it is of
Yeah, Dark Watchers. Okay, it's
kind
some
of
watching me.
shadow.
It's nothing that would fear me. You know, like I saw some of the videos I put up here where people send me, "What's this in the sky?" And I'm like, that wouldn't scare me, and that wouldn't terrify me, right? Like I wouldn't understand. I wouldn't. That doesn't, wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, but I think that you and I are a little bit different in some ways because I watched something with my son earlier today, and it was this guy exploring um, like a staircase he found, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just this random, like, open up the door and, oh my God, and this, goes way down, right? And we were chit chatting back and forth, and I was like, oh, I would go down a little bit, and then I would go back and get supplies, and then I would go back and check it out, right? And he's like, nope, nopity nope. He's like, I'm getting down there, and I'm gonna see that, and then I'm out.
No,
and I'm like, you're out forever? And he's like, yeah, I'm out forever. I was like, nah, man, you gotta have a sense of adventure. Just go back, strap one on, and head down in there with flashlight and GPS and some flares and a buddy.
Yeah, man. So look, man. I'm even gonna do it right, man. Big Poppies. I'm gonna grab the 12 gauge birdshot, buckshot. I'm gonna get me some glow sticks while I drop down there so I can see the ground, so I have a reference of where the ground is at, man. I'm going down there with a high beam, right? And Jay, cover my right. Since I'll take this side, you just watch my right shoulder.
Exactly.
I'm gonna see what's going on down here, right?
We'll check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna dig it out, man. So
put the camera glasses on and we're good.
That's it, man. Don't let me have some nods laying around, man. Some night vision, right? Don't let me kick that off, because then I'm going in silent, man. I believe. Yeah, nah.
That'd be cool. Be fun.
Yeah, so that's why I see these things, man.
Open on out.
Yeah.
He was an open on out.
Yeah, man. We used to explore abandoned houses like crazy growing up. I know you did too, man. Like abandoned churches, we would go in there and we would look around, right? And
we went through every nook and cranny that we could find.
Yeah, the only thing that ever scared me back then was I got ran up on by a raccoon one time. I wasn't expecting, man. It came out of the floor, and that was about it. I was like, oh, okay. That scared me a little bit. But yeah, man. So these things here, you guys, I don't see any reason to be scared of these things. And so when I looked into the ones in Vietnam as well, when people were talking about seeing them, and also too, some people try to say this is pareidolia. It's not, man. I'm so sick of that stuff. I'm actually, every time you post something up, you're going to get the following 3 things. It's fake, sure. That's a lazy response. AI, sure, right? CGI, which makes me laugh because if anybody's ever tried to edit a video, do you know how hard it is to make Iron Man fly in a
realistic way?
In a realistic way, right? No, that's not it either. Pareidolia, that's not it. Pareidolia, you wouldn't be getting people describing the same creatures for 300 years if it was pareidolia. Right?
And see, that's the kicker right there for me, right? It's the consistency.
Yeah.
Right? Consistent stories in different places geographically, right? Geographically disparate locations. Like there's an ocean separating these places, you know?
And so I actually find that the Dark Watcher stories are actually kind of boring. So when the ones in Vietnam, they didn't say that, after a Dark Watcher appeared, we knew that it was going to be a rough night. They just said they saw them. That was it. That was it. Be in the jungle, they'd be walking, they would see them, they looked at them head on, they would disappear. That was it. Period.
See, this story is kind of, this one is, for me, is a little different, right? Because, I had this recurring dream for a really, really, really long time. From the time that I was a kid until into my adulthood. But I haven't had it since I was in the Navy, I don't think. Right? Then I started having Navy dreams. Right? You've had those where right after you get out and you're like, why did I re-enlist? Yeah, I've had those. Yeah. Anyway, but in this dream, I'm in bed, it's not like from my perspective. I'm in a different bed in a different room than I've ever been in before. But it's just me in a bed, and and then I hear or something that alerts me, and it's a dream. I pull out a sword and defend myself, right? And I defend myself and fight off whatever attacker it was.
Every man's go-to weapon,
right? It is from this man. Anyway, so in the corner of the room, sitting in the corner, I look over, and there's just literally, like, when you say Dark Watcher, that's what was in the corner of that room in my dream, right? And this is a dream, so like it's not like I had a Dark Watcher sighting. I had a dream about it before I even heard of anything about this, right?
For sure.
But like it just when I saw some of the stuff on it, when I saw the videos and stuff on the Dark Watchers, I was like, wow, that's really weird, because that literally describes the thing I saw in my dream as a kid, right? And my feeling was, why didn't you help me? You're just sitting there watching.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, it was really, and so there's probably some psychological stuff to unpack there, but suffice it to say, it was described just exactly as the thing I saw in my dream, right? It was in the corner. I caught it out of the periphery first. It was wearing a hood, and it was just dark. It was a dark figure with kind of, you could see its eyes, and that was it.
I don't unpack my trauma, man.
No,
I'm too lazy.
There's way too much there, dude. Way too much. Most of it's behind me. You can kind of see my trauma.
It's over here. It's over here.
It's a little bit over
Back
here.
over here. It's over here a little bit. But yeah, man. So then when I drifted into the ones that were at the bottom, because we have relationships with Mount Fuji, man. The Japanese, this is all they talk. Dummy.
Yeah, they
don't talk. They don't play. They don't talk about. The Japanese do not even get close to acknowledging anything weird or supernatural over there. They will not give it the slightest bit.
Not us. They'll talk, but a lot of that stuff goes back to the old Shinto beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Kami, right? That's what they would call them. They would call them Kami of the forest.
Yeah, no. So they totally have a. So, me and Jay have been in Japan several times, long times. Japan has cryptids, and when you hit, but it's normally north, especially north of Misawa. They have this type of cryptid that comes out of the water that has a kind of a half hollow head full of water. I can't remember the name of it right now. It looks like a little evil. It reminds me of Gollum coming out of the water when you see the things on that. I forget what those are called. But they also too the samurai lore. Japan is so rich in lore. The samurais, they would talk about the kamis or the demons, or that they would have to fight, and they, back then, and these boys, they were built different. They weren't scared to die, right? So when they would fight these demons, or what Jay would call them, they would call them kamis. I think there's a couple other things they would call them too, man. I can't remember off the top of my head, but so
there was a bunch of different classifications.
Yeah, they respected him, but now so much they don't really talk about it too much over there. But yeah, so yeah, Jay, the Dark Watchers on a scale of 1 to 10, scary. I gotta say they're a solid 1 for me, man, because if you're not gonna make eye contact with me, man, then we ain't gonna have much of a relationship.
Not only that, but they've been shown to be a little bit helpful sometimes.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
See one, just wave and go on your way.
So will these scare you?
Probably would startle you. I mean, like, come on, man. Let's be real. If I'm walking through the woods at dusk and I see a dark figure in the distance, I'm gonna stop and make sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing what I'm seeing. That's just common sense. Being in the woods. It would scare me? Probably not. Nothing would actively scare me unless it was coming at me.
Would it keep you out of the woods?
No.
Yeah, it wouldn't keep me out of the woods.
Not much is going to keep me out.
It's not. No, this ain't like Skinwalker Ranch, where I would never drive on the same road.
I watched that talk. It was good.
Yeah.
I think we should go.
You can have my ticket because I ain't going. I'll meet you guys in Salt Lake, or we can hang out down there or something like that. I'm not. Yeah. I even said it. I was even telling Scott, you couldn't give me that place. 512 acres. I don't want it. No, I'm good.
I know. I saw. You said, what was the word? You couldn't give it to me.
Yeah. Couldn't give it to me.
I wouldn't take it. Yeah,
Nope.
no, I'm pretty sure it was very clear.
I don't
I think
even
you
want
should get
my
on
name
Stanley.
on
You
the
should check this
deed.
out.
I don't even want my name to have nothing associated with it. And I
I'll
even
go with you. I'm sure, right?
exactly right. I'm not messing with this plate. No, you can have it. You can have my ticket. You know, Scott can split it. Put a day spawn there. I ain't going. So that's the thing, man. Like that's the thing. And I've said this before, right? I've told my cousin this. I've told you this. I've told Scott this. I'm telling people now if you're watching this, if I'm in the woods, right? I'm always prepared when I'm in the woods. If a Bigfoot came at me and it wasn't aggressive, I would not be aggressive towards it. But I'm telling you now, if a Bigfoot came at me and it tried to hurt me, I'm getting one shot off, right?
At least.
I'm gonna get one shot off, right? But everything on Skinwalker Ranch could kill me, and I got no shot, man. So I look, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger back in that movie The Predator, man. If it bleeds, we can kill it. This can't be killed. So if I can't kill it, I'm not messing with it, right? Because it can kill me. I'm not messing with it, man. So
yeah, well, I mean that's pretty good. You know, that's a pretty good rule of thumb. Is if it can kill me, I'm probably going to turn the other way.
So look, I'm fairly confident right now, man. I'm fairly confident right now. Right now. Especially my new friend Drew I just met over there at the Cryptid Warfare podcast. I could put together a team, you're in this team, of 20 guys who know how to handle weapons, right? And 20 guys who know how to handle weapons around other guys who know how to handle weapons. And that's important. You know what I'm talking about in there.
I do.
And I still wouldn't go on Skinwalker Ranch with 20 dudes, man. I wouldn't go on there with that's what is that?
You wouldn't go there with the Expendables?
Nope. Not going there, man. It's useless. We're going to lose.
Yeah, no,
you remember that movie, Aliens? Remember the second Aliens? What was that guy's name? I forget his name. No, we're gonna die, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna die.
Game over, man. Game over.
That's me on Skinwalker Ranch. That's game over, man. We're done, man. We're done, man. Yeah. That's it. I'm not going, right? And so that's the thing. I'll go anywhere else with you, man. You can call me up on the phone and say, yo, man, there's 12 Hell's Angels outside my house. I'm over there. I'm in the truck. I'm coming in.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Call me and tell me your kid's on the ceiling. Don't ever call me again. Never lose my number.
I'm a priest and young priest.
I'm not a priest. Don't ever stop calling me, man. But yeah, that's the thing. That's my whole experience with Skinwalker Ranch. Everything Scott talked about on that ranch could smoke me and you and all of us if it wanted to. But yet he had a good point, man. There's never been any reported fatalities on Skinwalker Ranch out there. No one has ever been, taken out. That's been reported.
Like it could. I kind of want it to scare me.
Really?
If I'm being honest, dude, I've never had any kind of experience. Well, okay. I've had some weird experiences. None of them ever involved anything other than just weird reality, right?
Nah.
Like, reality is weird, right?
Oh, it's
enough for me.
Truth is stranger than fiction. That's all the time.
Stupid stuff happens to me, right? Like, just nonsense things. A little girl dodging out of the PX one day. Did I tell you that story?
That story.
Yeah, like...
You're going to die.
Right. No, it was. So a friend and I were walking through the Naval Exchange, so just filling everybody in, and we were just walking, like going to buy some chips or something. I don't even know. And this little girl, probably between 7-year-old and 9-year-old, comes just flying out from between the rows and looks me dead in the eye and says, "I don't judge you," and then runs away. Never to be seen again. I don't know where her parents were. I don't know if she had parents. I don't know who she was with.
Yeah,
I stopped for a minute, looked at the person I was with, and said, "Yeah, it tracks," and kept walking.
Yeah,
because that's what happens to me.
I grew up in the Appalachian mountain range, man. I had terrifying experiences in Japan. I'm gonna talk about it on the show eventually, but
oh yeah, you gotta tell me about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm good, man. I've seen all the.
I haven't seen any of it.
The paranormal stuff that I ever want to see. In fact, man, I'll throw some heavy Jesus on you. Roll in my house, man. You about to get the Holy Ghost, because I'm not playing with ghosts, man, or spirits or demons, none of that stuff.
I've been to psychics and stuff, and I've heard the same line from so many like palm readers and blah blah blah, right? That I'm just kind of like, you're gonna hit me with that right away, huh? It's the you're a gypsy curse thing, right? Like, everybody, you can't open with that, right? Like, don't.
No. So
Don't
yeah,
come
but
at
I'm down. I'm down with like the cryptid stuff. Except I'm starting to drift into the like. Like, you ever heard of this thing called a rake?
I mean, I've heard of a rake, but I don't think it's the same rake.
No,
We're talking about the same rake.
no. We're gonna do a podcast on this thing,
Most
man.
definitely not. Okay, what's a rake in this
Man,
respect? Just in the general sense.
it's not 10
Flying.
feet tall. Those are wendigos, they say. But a rake looks like, a white. It's pale white because it lives in the cave systems up there, and it looks like a World War Z zombie, but fast.
Oh,
Right? You ever seen
okay.
that movie World War Z?
Fast zombie. Yeah. No, I got
And
the fast
that's
zombie.
another thing too, man. On my top 10 list of stuff that terrifies me, like the Walking Dead zombies, man. I will headshot them dudes and dance around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
They're only but that was strength in numbers more than anything else.
yeah, but fast zombies. I mean, I'm not. I don't think I'm
Fast
not
zombies
prepared for that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody is. That's the end scenario right there.
Yeah.
Fast zombies is the end scenario
Yeah.
because it's almost impossible to defend yourself against something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's when you head for the aircraft carrier.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. That's when the ocean becomes your friend. But then, yeah, so that's what it looks like, man. And I was talking to somebody, and they were pointing me in some directions on that. I don't even know if I want to drift into that until I find out what that is. Then I'll be like, okay, we'll do some research on it, man. Because I was telling Scott, man, as far as paranormal go, I stop at skinwalkers. I'm not doing demons. We're not getting into that, right? We're not going over into
No
that.
demonology.
Nah, we ain't doing none of that, man. We ain't going into any of that stuff, man. So
It's probably a bad idea.
yeah, exactly right. I read the Lesser Key of Solomon. I'm good.
Yeah,
so I'm good.
Idea.
Yeah, bro. So, anyways,
I'm not going to be chanting in circles, drawing anything on the ground.
Nah, that will never happen.
No,
Yeah,
probably not.
Because something will show up.
Again, probably a bad idea.
Something will show up.
No, I don't take chances like that with the weird reality that I live in as it stands anyway.
Yeah, so here's the thing too, man. Like, I don't know what type of life people are living. But I know right now that a lot of people are out there. Times are hard around the globe. Actually, people are fighting, right? So, after a long day of fighting for your freedoms, fighting for food, getting everything done, you just want to come home and like, hey, let's draw a pentagram and summon Skishkishkagab. See what, right?
Typically, those are not the people who are summoning.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking like that ain't my thing, man. That's not my thing. So.
And I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Typically, the type of people who do that sort of thing are people like Aleister Crowley, who are a little bit bent in the head.
That freaking clown. That dude's a clown, man. Jay-Z's God. Barack Obama's God.
Well, I'm not getting into that. You know. Yeah. But neither here nor there. Like, I don't know. I just think that's probably like, why would you want to try to mess with something with that kind of power? Like, why would you want to call your attention to yourself?
Well, I'll even take it a step further.
In the theoretical sense, right?
That thing. Why would you want to mess with something that has all that's that much powerful than you, and hates your very existence, cannot stand you, full of total malice, right? Right.
Yeah.
Name one.
And then there's the other side of it, like people trying to summon angels and stuff. But then again, you know, like there's a lot of requirements there that are really hard to fulfill.
Well, my thing is that, so, okay, name one time you've heard a story where a guy said, yeah, I summoned a demon and my life went great.
Yeah, no, that's not a story that you hear. No, not at all.
Wow, no. Came in and turned everything around. Turned everything around, right?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I believe that, and I think that, you know, it just, you can sum it up with Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? And I think that kind of like applies to so many things because we live in a physical universe, right? Mm-hmm. And there's going to be bounce back no matter what you do, right?
Well, children at home, if you're watching this, don't play with demons. All right, that's rule number 1.
That is
Anyways,
a safe statement, sir.
if you're stuck around this,
Just saying.
it's common sense, people.
It's good advice.
It's common
For
sense,
sure.
man. It's common sense,
Yeah,
right? It's common
absolutely.
sense, people.
Yeah,
Don't mess with.
don't do that.
You
No.
remember Steve Irwin? Don't muck with it, mate. Don't muck with it. Danger,
right.
danger, danger.
And that's the guy that used to grab a hold of crocodiles.
This dude used to dive on a crocodile, man, and it's like, oh, look
Yeah.
at here, mate.
Yeah, right.
It's an Australian wingy do. It's also known as the
angry animals.
kill you in 3 steps.
Right.
Danger, danger,
Right.
danger.
Danger, danger, danger fish.
Don't mess with it. Don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jay, I'm glad you're back. And if you're stuck around this long, losers, you're our type of losers. Do us a favor. Smash that subscribe button.
Right.
Give this a thumbs up. Forward this to your mama. Forward this to your granny. I don't care who else you forward it to. Forward it. Leave a comment. Argue it out. If you like demons, don't leave a comment. I will probably delete it. I will probably not even talk to you about it like that. So, Jay, you got anything?
I don't know. Apparently, we're giving out green lights.
Green lights.
Yeah. Just leave it at that.
All right, then. We out.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.